Hi, this is Phyllis. I will be making this crystal dangle or crystal drop earring, and I'm entitling my videos parts 1 and 2 because I'm going to make the same earring using the right angle weave bead weaving technique, but in 2 processes. The part 1 is going to be 1 needle, and part 2 is going to be 2 needle. If you prefer to use 2 needles, I did that video for you. So if you like what you see, please stay tuned for my materials list, and we will get started. We're going to do the 1 needle method in the part 1 video and the 2 needle method in part 2. So thank you and welcome to all of my new subscribers. Gather your materials and well, actually I'll stay tuned for my materials list. Thanks. The materials for today's project are the same as in part 1. I'm using my crystal teardrop, and the size is 11 by 5.5, and the crystal color I'm using size 15-0 seed beads, and these are the palladium plated, and they are Mayuki. You can use Mayuki or Toho, it doesn't matter. I'm using my stainless steel ear wire, and I'm using my crystal 6-pound fire line, and we're using 20 inches of it, and I have 2 needles, and I have already strung my thread onto my 2 needles, and I have even tails. And we're going to get started. I know a lot of people don't like using the right angle weave method for bead weaving with 1 needle, depending on the project excuse me, that they're making. That's the reason why I decided to make these earrings in the same earring in 2 separate videos, because a lot of people are beginners, and some people are experts or you know, some other bead weaving level in between, but I don't want to leave anyone out. But I want to show you that this is just as easy with 2 needles. Okay, now we're going to begin by making the bottom point of our right angle weave unit. I'm going to run my needle into this into the crystal here and let it drop down into the center, and you know, I'll continue to make sure that it's in the center as I go along. So with that, on each needle I'm going to string 4 of our seed beads on each needle, 4, and I'm going to, I should have done that with my right hand, but I'm going to let them drop down to the drop. Make sure that that's even, and bring my thread down, and here's what we have. Let's get a little clarity. Okay, and then on either needle, depending on which one you're comfortable with, you're going to string on a size 15-0. I'm going to move these out of the way. Maybe that will help us with our focus. Okay, string on and lose it. Okay, I lost it. That's all right. We're going to pick up another one. String on a 15-0 on either needle, and pull the bead off of the needle, and with the needle in the other hand, pass the needle in the opposite direction that the first needle is going. So you should have one needle pointing to your right and one needle pointing to your left. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to even up the needles again. And I'm going to pull down on that size 15-0 seed bead. You see I have it right here. I'm just going to pull down on it if I can catch it. Just going to pull down on it until it meets up with the drop and the other seed beads. And I think I need to back off a little. All right. And then this is what we have. It looks the same as the other. It's just that this time we did it with 2 needles and we don't have a tail, right? The tails are on the needles, all right? Now, how do we make our units? This is the easy part. On each needle, string on 1 size 15-0 seed bead and knock it off. Okay, on each needle, pull those off of the needles. And then on either needle, depending on the side that you are comfortable on, string on another seed bead. Pull that seed bead off of the needle and pass through the seed bead with the opposite needle, making sure that you are crossing through that needle in opposite directions, and pull down. And this is what you have. I'll do that one more time with you. String on a 15-0 on each needle, and then get yourself another one on either needle and pull down, pull it off of the needle and cross over, cross through. And pull down. This is what you have now. All right. Isn't that simple? So go ahead and make your units, as many as you need, and then when I'm done with my 10, I'll get back on, I'll turn the camera back on, and I'll show you that we're gonna do the same thing that we did in part 1. We're going to make our bail with our 5 seed beads, and then we're going to put our stitch in the ditch, and we are going to meet our threads up together and tie them in a knot. It is as simple as that. So I will see you after I finish my 10 units. I have completed my 10 rows, units, I mean, my 10 right angle weave units with my 2 needles. And I'm going to do my bail. I'm going to string on 5 of my seed beads, and it doesn't matter, you know, if you're left-handed, right-handed, make sure that, you know, you get them all on. And I'm going to get my ear wire. I just want to check this ear wire to make sure that it's closed. You know, you could always do this. I see a little gap here. Just a little gap. It's not going to make a difference or not, but I just wanted to make sure that there is no gap. And all I do is I take my chain nose pliers and I just twist. I grab a hold of the opening and I just twist until it meets up with the other side of the loop, and I just make sure that that's closed up there, and I push the spring back down. And you know, I should add this to the list of materials in my little chain nose plier, just to make sure the jump ring in there is closed. All right, so now I'm going to run my needle through this ear wire the loop of the ear wire, and I'm going to come back. Now I'm using the needle in my right hand, and I'm going to come back. Remember I have on my 5 seed beads and my ear wire, and I'm going to come back and pass my needle back through the seed bead from the opposite end. And when I pull my thread, I'm holding on to the other one so it doesn't come out of formation. And I'm just going to pull, and here we are, we have our bail. And then I'm going to flip my work around so that I can do the same thing with the other needle. This does two things. It's going to keep your threads even, and it is going to also reinforce the bail. Okay, so here I am doing the same thing. I'm just to reinforce, I'm going to pass through all of my beads, and don't forget to pass through your ear wire. And I'm going to come back through the bead where I started. I just have to do it, that's all. Okay. And there you have it. The bail is reinforced, and my threads are, uh-oh, I went through an extra one. My threads should both be exiting this crossover bead right here, but I see that I have gone through an extra bead. No need to worry. You really should pull the thread off of the needle when you do this, because sometimes you can get crossed up in here. So really do not follow my example, because that's really take off the needle before you do this. But I am not being a good teacher right now. I'm just going to come through, and I was successful. All right, so both of my threads are exiting the same crossover bead, and now we have to get into position to add our stitch in the ditch. How are we going to do that? Well, we go into the next bead in line. As you can see, what I did was I flipped the work over so that I can work away from me and on my right side where I'm more comfortable. So I'm just going to pass my needle into the next seed bead in line for a right angle weave and the side bead. I'm going to do the same thing with the left needle, but I'm still only going to work right now on the right side. Just going to go right here, and both of the needles are in the same place, but on either side. Okay, and what am I going to do? I'm going to do the simple thing. I'm going to string on a seed bead, and I'm going to pass it into the next side bead in line. I gotta say that it's absolutely a quicker project making this earring with the two needles. It's absolutely. Now you can go all the way down on one side if you then flip it over and go all the way down on the other side, or you can do a few here on this side, do a few on the other side. That depends on how you're comfortable. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the camera. First, I'm going to go all the way down on this side, and I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to go down the other side, and I will meet you here at the end, right before we get to the crossover bead, before the drop. Okay, meet you there. But that's when I'm finished with both sides. I have completed my stitches in the ditches up until this point, and I have my threads exiting these end seed beads here right before the crossover bead. The crossover bead that I'm talking about is this one that leads into the teardrop. And so I have my right needle in my hand, and I'm going to go ahead and pass through the crossover bead. Pull that thread, and I'm going to rest that needle on this side, and I'm going to get the left needle and go ahead and pass through this crossover bead. And pull through. Oh, I have to get my thread management going here. Okay, there you go. And right now, this is where we are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to advance my needle down into these 4 seed beads, just like that. Pull the thread. I'm going to turn my work over so that I can work on my right side here with a little thread management, making sure that the one that you just rested is out of the way on the other side. And with the needle in my right hand, again, remember I flipped it over, I'm going into these 4 seed beads on this side. And when I pull my thread, this is what we have. I'm going to advance this needle into the drop. And when I get there, your threads will be meeting up. Both threads are right here. One is exiting the drop, as you see here, and the other one is exiting the seed beads, as you see here. I'm going to take note that actually I'm going to remove the needle from the left thread, the one that's coming out of the seed beads, so that I don't get confused. And I'm just going to tie a knot right here. And remember, the one with the needle, don't accidentally pull that one off. You want to remember where you are. You want to remember what you're doing. And I think I added more than 20 inches of thread here. Don't mind me, I wasn't measuring properly that today. It's that kind of day. And when I go through my loop the second time, I'm going to make a double, go through it twice. And we have, no we don't, we have a very proper knot right here. Okay, now look at my my earring doing the crescent moon. That's a new dance we're not going to do today with this earring. What we're going to do is we're just going to arrange it. We're going to straighten it out, pull it a little bit, and make it the way we want it. And that's better. It's straight now. So remember, we have the needle here on the bead that was coming. I'm sorry, the needle. My goodness. Anyway, the needle is on the thread that was exiting the drop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the knot, making sure that it's tight enough, you know, but that your work is arranged. And I'm going to just pass the needle into these 4 or 2 or however many seed beads. I'd like to get it through the 4, but right now my main objective is to hide the knot. Can you see it there? Naughty knot. We don't want to see it. What we want to do is pull it into the beads. And that's what I did. I pulled it right there into the beads. so that you can't see it. And you can either cut your thread or continue to advance your needle through a few more beads. I'm more comfortable advancing the needle, even though I am not worried about this earring coming loose at all. Okay, so that's what I did. Pulled my thread up through the crossover bead, making sure that I have the earring the way I want it, making sure that it looks exactly like the other one that we did with one needle. What do you think? Twins? Twins, absolutely. And then the only thing I'm going to do is nip off my thread, give it a little stretch, and nip it right off. And this side, the same thing. Give it a little stretch and nip that right off. There you go. And now you have your earrings, and with the same earring with two different processes. It's the same technique, but different process. So there you have it. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm going to try to do a few more of these simple earring projects for the month of Vlogmas, and I'd like to see all of you making these projects. I'm going to try to use materials that are simple, but something that everybody may have. If you don't have drops, you can always use a pearl or a druck, a round bead, a fire polish bead, whatever you want to do. But this, trying to use simple materials so that you could make quick projects for the holidays, for yourself or for your friends and your family. But nevertheless, thank you for spending the time with me. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.